Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday.
I
Janice, it's our favorite day of the
I
week.
know.
Isn't
Hey
it? How
there.
are you? Mwah. And mwah, it's
Yeah.
great to see you guys. You know, you guys would think it was so funny if you were here in the offices at beadshopdotcom. By the way, we're coming at you live from our offices at
Yes.
beadshop.com here in Redwood City. I'm Kate Richburg, and sitting next to me is the fantastic Janice Parsons.
Yes. Hi, everyone.
And, you should see us, though, you guys, before we jump in to do a Facebook Live. It's like we're filming a major motion picture on a shoestring budget. You know, it's that Oscar winner where they go, and they filmed that for $5, but they won Picture of the Year.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how we do
Wouldn't
that
that
every
be
week.
wonderful if we won Picture
Yeah,
of the Year?
wouldn't
Oh.
it? Like a Webby. There must be some kind of broadcast award that we can start
I don't know.
taking a big full page ad out
I'm
for.
just very grateful anyone is watching.
Right, yeah, me too, exactly.
Well,
thank you.
Christine and Krista say hello.
Oh,
Hi.
hello, Krista.
And
Hello,
Kelly.
Christine
Christine
and
and
Kelly.
Kelly.
How are you guys? It's great to see you this morning.
Yeah. Well, it's Wednesday.
Or afternoon, wherever you guys are.
We've just published an amazing project.
Oh my gosh.
A long time in the coming.
A long time in the making.
Right.
And we're going to be showing you guys all about that in a few. But Janice, I've got a couple of shout outs.
Oh, good.
Remember how we talked about, give us some shout outs so we
Right.
can say hello? So Susan, who's usually one of our regular viewers, took the time out this morning to message us on Facebook and say, sorry, I'm not going to be here. I have a meeting.
Oh.
So they were, her company or whatever had the audacity to schedule
I
a
know.
meeting during her Facebook
I
Live
know.
time. But she's going to watch it later on Facebook Live. So thank you,
Thank you,
Susan.
Susan.
We appreciate it. And Anne from Minnesota, she wrote us a really nice note about how she's learned so much at beadshop.com and done all of this great stuff with our projects. But she wants us to take a road trip to Minnesota.
What a great idea.
So let's pack
I
up.
have great memories of Minnesota.
Yeah.
When I was young, the Y took a trip. We all took a trip to St. Olaf College in Minnesota, and I boarded the train. First we went to LA. We boarded the train, and nobody told me that I was supposed to bring money. I was 13 years old. I got on
Wow.
with all these other kids from Hawaii and Alaska, and I had no money for food for this Y trip.
Oh my gosh.
But everyone was so great. So I got to St. Olaf. Everyone fed me along the way. It was great, and
Oh,
they're
how fun.
wonderful. It's a beautiful campus.
Oh.
Minnesota's beautiful. So let's do a road
So
trip.
yeah, you never know. We should maybe take this on the road.
Yeah, but aren't you doing Bead and
I
Button this
am.
summer?
So I am going to be in the Midwest this beginning of the summer. If any of you guys have been to the Bead and Button conference, it's the biggest bead show almost in the world, really, and it happens every year. It's put on by Bead and Button magazine, and I've been teaching there. I went there, the first time I went to Bead and Button was when the bead shop sent me way back at the beginning of my teaching career, and I started teaching there, and I still do now. Their class catalog just came out, so you can go to, search Bead and Button right online, and you can grab one of their catalogs, see the classes. So class signups, I think, start after the beginning of the year.
What are you teaching?
I'm teaching metalworking.
Metal.
You know, I'm taking my torch and
Okay.
going to Bead and Button.
Well, it's good.
Yeah, it
it's
is good.
Metal is good.
It is good.
It's almost good.
It's
It's pretty good.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Metal's been very good to me.
We're not going to ask anyone to vote today, though.
No, but we did have, if you guys did watch our Battle of the Boards. You have a question, Gracie?
No, it's not a question.
Oh, okay.
We just have a lot of thank yous for our free gifts and for our satin
Oh my
chocolate
gosh,
boards.
Yes.
yeah.
And
Speaking of
Gita
those.
says hello and road trip to Denmark.
All right.
And a lot
Yes.
of people very grateful for your broadcast.
Thanks,
Oh.
you guys. We're grateful for you, for sure.
Well, it took us so long to discover this, and it was only with you coming on board.
Well,
That-
I like that. I like that
Yeah,
interaction.
I didn't know. I don't even know how to sign up for Facebook.
And now look at you.
I know.
Global.
I still don't know how to sign up for
Right.
Facebook.
Well,
You know, like where anyone says sign on using your
Right.
Facebook account.
right.
I can't do
You
it.
can't
I still
do it.
can't.
Well, you're
do
an
it. But here I am.
Here you
Here
are.
I am with my coffee.
That's right.
And my best bud.
Oh, that's right. And we're ready to bead with you
Yeah.
guys. Oh, but I did want to mention people are thanking for those chocolate boards.
Yes.
last week we did have Battle of the Boards, and it was really.
I thought we weren't going to mention it.
Well, I said we weren't, and
And
I
then-
should guess we are. Yeah.
The boards won. The
Yeah.
velvet chocolate
Yeah.
boards won the vote, hands down.
But some of you really do love that macrame board, so.
They do.
And
There are a
next
few of
week,
you out
there are a
there.
few. And next week,
Yeah.
we're going to be using the macrame board
Yes,
again.
yes,
So, but
yeah.
we'll tell you about that in
Yeah.
a second. So I think it's time, Janice. Let's
Yes.
jump in. We have some samples here. Why don't you talk a little bit about the history of this project?
Sure.
So everybody can
Sure.
kind of.
So about a year and a half ago, we did a challenge. We asked for entries from our readers of projects inspired by some autumn photographs. And we got the most delicious, wonderful entries, and we put it together in a lookbook called the Autumn Lookbook. And we voted on it. We had a group of judges, and Lauren Hartman, hands down, came in with really a unique herringbone stitch using SuperDuos. And she did 3 of the entries. They're all beautiful. If you go to the projects page,
Yeah, to our projects page.
and scroll down a little bit, you'll see the Autumn Lookbook, and you can see these fabulous entries. And since then, we have gotten so many requests for all of her samples, including there's 1 or 2, I think, on Beader Showcase, which is also on the project page.
And you guys, you can always find that if you just go right to beadshopdotcom, our homepage, click on projects. It's on the top bar, just right over to the left.
Right. So this is the stitch that everyone is intrigued by. How do you do this herringbone stitch? And at first, when we did the lookbook, I tried creating it, and I put together a very simple little handout in our skill builders, which is Lauren's stitch. Lauren very gently but nudgingly corrected me and said, that's not how I do it. So as time went on, and we were looking to expand our horizons of designers and sample makers, I approached Lauren and I said, Lauren, would you like to do a project for us? So based on your harvest entry, the one that won the Autumn Lookbook, and then we could show the complete sample, because when people send in their submissions, we only have one beauty shot.
Right, only, right.
So
and
she
no
said
directions.
yes, she'd love to do it. I sent her some materials, and she created, let me take these away for a second, and she created 2 bracelets. A single wrap for, it was at this time for a guy, so it's a little meatier, and a triple wrap that includes the herringbone SuperDuo, a transition, a group of 4mm fire polish, and then using our new
our tiles.
Checkmates tiles. And so she created these wonderful samples, really it was a few months ago. And then we've been waiting to get the SuperDuos in. They've been out of stock. It's been difficult. And then finally, we have been able to put her project up. Her project is now also going to be available in a kit,
which
starting
is amazing.
starting today. In fact, is the first day.
And
that
it
this
features
kit's-
not only the SuperDuos, but this great SuperDuo duet,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
This guy here, and you can
Yes.
see the duet colors, how it's that duet, that
Right.
dual color bead, which I think makes this piece doubly
Right.
delicious.
And then what we did in the interim, we said, okay, let's make, because we know everybody likes different colors, let's make this project in other colorways. And so we asked Robin, who's
Yeah,
another
Robin
one of our
Tobias.
sample makers,
Yeah.
to make a group in the greens. And we're calling that one Seafront. Lauren's we called Parade, and I'll explain why it came, what I started on this with these names. And then the one that you and I did is the red one, which we're calling Nightlights. So just a little more background, and then we can start talking about the stitches.
I'm going to put this on
Yeah, it's so
because
much
I
fun.
love it.
The reason I started with the name Parade is because when it seems like anyone starts this. Me, you, Drea, if you're out there today, I know when I was in Virginia, we tried starting Lauren's bracelet, and it was just this kind of hodgepodge of how do you fit the SuperDuos in, and it becomes this unwieldy mess.
Yeah.
We have a pile.
So
Where's
I
our
brought
pile?
it. So just
Let's
so you
show
guys
everyone.
know, kind
This
of a
isn't
behind
even
the
all
scenes.
of it.
It's
This-
not. But this is the chaos that this project came out of for
Yeah.
Janice and I.
Yeah.
So you can see our stops, our starts, all of our thread. There's a
Yeah.
random needle in here, right? So we show you guys like the finished product, but this is the behind the scenes. What a lot of these projects take are a lot of missteps and a lot of practice. So out of this chaos, Janice, you thought lining this up like a parade.
That's what happens
Yeah.
because it eventually, like, the parade starts at a corner on Main Street with a bunch of bands hanging around and floats, and it looks like a mishmash.
Right.
And then by the time it goes past the parade stands, it's all lined up. It's all like
Right, everyone's in sync.
Yes, and so that's why her sample became known as Parade Seafront, because I feel like when you're walking along the sea, you hear at first a cacophony of waves, and then there's a rhythm to the waves going in and out and the birds. And then ours, I like night lights because during the day traffic looks so chaotic and messy, but then when you look at it at night, there's that beautiful red stream of lights. And it's like everyone's in sync. And that's what this project feels like to me. It's like once you get past that hurdle of how do I start and what, then it's like, oh.
Then it all falls into place.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm wearing both of these here.
Yes.
So this is the project, the one that Janice and I did. It was a fun lettering project.
Right, it was. It was a lot.
So,
I actually had a lot of comments. Can I interrupt?
yeah,
Sure.
of course.
So a lot of people are really excited to learn how to do this. We actually had a question from Diane in Idaho, just to take a break really quick.
Hi, Diane.
She says that thank you for all the projects and handouts, and she teaches some of these projects in community education at a local college. And she asks that with your permission, can she use the handouts too, or what can she do with that?
Oh, you know,
That's a
that's a
good
great
question.
question. You know, all of our handouts, I have one actually here, you know, and all of our handouts are branded with our beadshopdotcom things, and they're done with that. So Janice, what would you say to Diane?
The answer, Diane, is yes. We want to share the learning. We want you to teach others. Everything about the handout must remain. So if you were to take it and take the name Bead Shop off, that's not okay. But if you're teaching, especially if you're teaching at a school or a college, and it's not a huge profit center, we definitely encourage you. But it has to
Just
have
has to
all
keep it
of-
intact.
Yeah, yeah.
So the way that we wrote it, the way that we branded it, and the way that we set it up,
Yeah.
as long as you use this handout as a
Exactly.
PDF, we're really fine
Yep.
with that.
You can print it out, you can share it, absolutely.
I've got another question.
Sure.
This one's from Christine, who asks, when making a wrap bracelet, how do you know when to transition in the bracelet size?
Transition from one section to
I
another.
think when you were mentioning these transition points
Oh,
here.
yeah,
Oh.
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great,
And
great
then-
question.
We have a hello from Puerto Rico.
Oh,
Hello,
hi.
Puerto
And we
Rico.
had a hello from, where was the another international location.
Ooh.
Athens.
Athens.
And-
Hello. Yasu.
Emily in South San Francisco
Oh.
asked about your ring.
Oh,
Oh, I
Emily.
know.
So that person who's asking about my ring, that's my friend Emily Miller. I
Yeah.
bet Emily's really great. She's a great instructor. But this is a piece that from my metalsmithing collection, so
Yes.
that I've stamped and created. It's my Southwest
It
ring
looked
class
really
that I
good
do.
on my
It
hand
did.
this
It
morning.
did.
It really
It
did.
did.
I saw it right
yeah,
away.
I know,
and
and she
tried
put it right on.
on.
But you
Yeah.
never know what'll happen.
Yeah.
You never know. But thanks, Em, for noticing. Yes. So to jump in with, we thought that we'd break this out because there are several steps to this. And going back to the handout is made in kind of 3 parts. So it's the first part, the starting, this guy, you guys, that really gives you the fits. And hopefully
Yes.
we have helped you not to do this part. So we talk about what you're going to need, all of that stuff, and then we go on into the steps. This first step of the handout, when we do this section, because the handout is for the triple wrap, this portion and this single bracelet are the same thing, right? It's the triple wrap then just goes beyond and has 2 more sections. So we talk about laddering with the 4mm and then laddering with the checkmates tiles and doing those transitions. But to start out, let me talk to you about how I would start this. Grace, should I move these out of the way? Do we want to try doing that? We're going to change some perspective here so you guys can kind of see what's shaken. And let us know, you guys, to make sure that you can see and that you can hear what I'm saying. Yeah.
Kate, I just want to mention that when you start out now, Lauren also helped us with the handout.
Yes.
And the way you're starting is how she did a wonderful handout. We had to, wiggle it around a bit to work with how our learning. But you're going to show how she started, how she starts
it, right? And this is just connected to the board, you guys. Right on our skill builder, one of our skill builders is how to connect a project to a board, and we've gone over it a few different times in different Facebook Lives. But essentially, you get your ladder, we knot it up, and then we use an excess piece of twine or string to capture it here on this side and secure it around the button. Now, Janice was saying this morning when we were setting these up, I had mine turned this way, so I was ready to work. And Janice said, well, why don't you flip it over to the back and have the button face down so you can actually see where you're working, which I thought was a genius move.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
once
you.
in a while,
Thank you.
you really hit it out of the park.
Well,
And-
you also had a good one about
Yeah.
the needle.
The needle, yeah, I'm going to show you that. So,
the needle.
To first, when you measure your thread, it feels like everybody measures their thread a little bit differently. But what I do is, and I learned this from an instructor years ago about when I was doing some bead work, is I measure a long length of my arm, and I don't know if you can kind of see me here, Grace, but I measure a length here and another length here, and I call that a wingspan.
Oh.
So I measure a wingspan of thread. You can use your thread scissors, or I also have my wire cutters here. I just have them here. You have them there.
I know.
Good
I'm
pinch
Bogarting
hit. I know.
them.
Well, it's all
Here,
right.
Here, I'll give you these.
So also, you guys, when you take, I'm using Hana, but you could also use KO. Some people use even Nymo threads.
That's
I know
what
that
Lauren
likes
She
Nymo.
prefers Nymo.
But you can see when you take it off the spool, see how kind of curly it is, right? And it can be a little unruly, and it can also maybe not slide through your beads as evenly as you'd like. Well, I really like conditioning my thread with beeswax, and essentially all you do there is I put my thread up next to the beeswax and I just pull it through. And what that waxing does is, and I start back at the middle, what that waxing does is it starts to take the curl out of the thread, and it also makes the thread kind of slippery. It's a weird combination of kind of slippery and with a little bit of staying power, so that your thread isn't unruly, but it slides through those beads nice and easily. And
Kind
you
of
can
medium
see,
slippery.
yeah, medium slippery.
Yeah.
And you can see I can just run it through, I don't know, a few times, maybe 3 times.
Well,
I
look
like
at
the
it.
looks of that. And see the difference? See how
Yeah.
it's not all curly and funny? And
Maybe
so
it would work on my hair.
maybe, but I like your curly hair. I think it looks great. Can you pass me the bag of needles right
Yeah.
by you?
Okay. And these are the needles that we use.
Yeah.
We're using the Beadsmith
Okay.
English
Okay.
beading needles, size 10.
Right there. Yeah. And then the handout, and thanks, Geeta, you just actually posted the handout, which was awesome. The handout is on the project page, and we'll go over that as well. But thank you, Geeta, as always, for being right on it.
I know.
Drea says beeswax helped her immensely on the second attempt.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
that she tried and tried.
Yeah.
I know. I remember, Drea. I was there at the kitchen table
Right.
with you.
Doing it.
Yeah.
So you can also give this a little bit of a clip so it's nice and straight. And I can kind of just make sure it's fanned out nicely. And then I'm going to set the eye of the needle right on my thread and pull it through. And see how easy, and you guys, I don't see that well. So see how easy that was to get that thread through once this is waxed. So once that's done, I've got my thread. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to tie a little, I'm going to put the tails together. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to leave myself a little bit of, I don't know, couple of inches there. And I'm going to tie a square knot, left over right, right over left, right around the left leg. Let me tighten that up. Here of my project. Now I'm going to come in. Always protect your surface with a little baggie. I'm going to come in with my glue. Oh. These glue. There we go. And add a little dot right there. And then I'm going to hand it right to Janice so it doesn't go all over the place. And I'm just going to let that be. I'm not going to even worry about it. Now this, you guys, I'm going to start this up with just a plain herringbone stitch, not the enhanced version that has these beads at the end, okay? So I'm going to begin so you guys can see. I'm going to use an 8mm bead. I'm going to string on my bead. And with the infinity stitch, you guys, as Janice always says, you always start on one side. You add your beads on one side, and then you flip around and go through. So whenever we add our beads, we're only adding our beads at the beginning. So I'm going to come in, and I'm actually going to go underneath. And getting back to that question that we had from a viewer just a few minutes ago about making the transitions between the different segments of beads, this little 8/0, or sometimes we use an 11/0. You can see here, Grace, if you pan down to my bracelet, I've used a little series of 11/0 right there to make that transition. Use these small beads to make that transition as smooth as possible. So this 8/0 is a pretty large bead. And if I think about then, I'm going to have a couple of little SuperDuos that are going to come in and nestle here. That's probably enough transition, that single one. If I were using an 11/0, maybe I'd go one 11/0 and then two 11/0 underneath. So see how I've gone back through that bead. Now I'm going to put on my two SuperDuos. And I'm using that doubled over thread. My thread passes below the legs of my leather, and I slide it through, and I put it right up into place.
And you're doing sort of a pressing down
Yeah,
and pulling so that you have tension.
Right.
Kathy says,
So it holds these, that tension holds these in, this in place. Yeah, Kathy, what's
Kathy
up?
says she's always struggled with the ladder stitch. The beads at the beginning pop up from between the leather. Tension is never quite right.
Yeah, so Kathy, one of the issues that your bead, you have pop-up issues, is that your thread may be too tight, that there isn't enough air. It's hard to see because my finger is there. But see that little opening right there? That little air, triangle air? That little bit of air prevents this bead from popping right up. So have that, a little movement, a little air, and that's going to really help it out.
The other thing I think, Kathy, is if as you're going back, stitching back in the opposite direction, if that bead is actually at the moment popping up, that is your signal that you need to take your thread under the leather and around. Because if it's popping up, you need to push it back down, and the best way to do that is to bring your thread under the leather rather than over the leather, because over the leather is just going to keep the bead popping up. So to press it down, take your thread under the leather and then around, and usually that does the trick.
Right, because you need to remember that your beads need to be hugged between
Right,
a thread path,
right.
2 threads.
So I always like to remember doing it the same way. So that first bead, to keep it from popping up, you can give it a little air before your button and your knot, so that you give it a little air of a triangle, and then go back through that first bead a couple of times to really anchor it in.
You can go back, right, pass it back and forth.
Yeah, anchor it in a couple of times back, so you go through once, go back through. It doesn't even hurt to go through again and back again, and then make sure that when you bring your thread around that you're bringing it under the leather, and then you start over and add your next bead, and you'll find usually the beads that pop out are the ones that you forgot to bring your thread under.
So now you can see, I've got a tangle here. I've added my 2 beads in the middle. Can you see that? And it's a little unruly, but not too bad. So I came through this Super Duo, I came underneath, and I went back through the bottom hole in row 1. Thanks, Janice. That bottom hole of the first Super Duo in row 1, dropped down to the top hole in the first Super Duo of row 2, to the next hole in this Super Duo in row 2, up to the bottom hole of Super Duo in row 1, around the leather to anchor it all. And now I'm just going to follow that same thread path, down and down. It's a little far away. See how you can also bring this in at a 45-degree angle. Let me catch my needle in there.
And if it's too difficult to do, then bring it up through one bead, pull it in, and then go through the next one. You don't want to break your needle. So if you
That's what I'm going to do for this one,
If you can't, then just don't try. Just pull it in and then go through the next one. As you go further on, you will find it gets easier. That those first couple ones can be just so tight.
And you can see where it was giving us a little bit of sass. So don't worry. If it gives you sass like this, you are in charge of these beads, you guys. Just follow that thread path. Whoops, I pulled that out. Bear with me here just a second. I need to have it a little closer to me. There we go. Nestle it down. Come around. There we go. And through and through. So it's anchored. See that? How it's anchored on the side? And now it's here. And here. And through this last Super Duo. Okay. So it's just the same thread path that I came around. Nice and tight. See how I put my thumb on that? Tighten up the tension. I'm going to bring my needle under the leg. And I'm going to drop it back down. Back down through this Super Duo right here. Now I'm ready to add my other 2. Let's do that one more time. And if you need to, you can use your knotting tweezers to get it nice and tight by just pulling it from the side. But these little Super Duos, they just nestle now that I've gone about 3 rows. And see, there's a little bit of space up there, so I want to just pull everything in to make sure that my tension is going well. And one of the tricks I also learned from Janice when I'm doing this laddering is when I put my thumb on top, I can really hold them in place and do that tension, tighten up that tension. Go around. And see, now my beads are angling a lot nicer, so I can make that needle pass through with my thumb right on it, tighten it up, and pull it through. Keep my thumb right there. Now I can go that other 45 degree this way, here and here. See that? Put my thumb on, tighten it up, pull this around through my first SuperDuo, and now I'm ready to add my other 2 beads. Okay. And you can see after those first couple of little passes how things are starting to look pretty good.
Yeah. It's
Now,
like a parade.
Like a parade. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, and see if you have there's a little bit of extra thread there, I can use my tweezers here to just kind of help me walk this thread down really, really gently. But as we're doing this demo time, you know, we're not as maybe conscientious as we would be in a project. The other trick I want to show you is what I do with these tails. And so let me grab a needle. After I've tied the knot in this thread and tied it on, I've got my ends here, and I may give them another little waxing. Wax, wax, wax. And if I have a short tail, I could cut a much longer piece, but I can insert my needle right here into my bead, and I'll give this a little clip with my thread scissor, and I'll come in. Since I've waxed these threads, they're acting like a single thread, and I can put the eye of the needle on top of the thread and bring it right through. This needle actually does make the turns, but sometimes, you know, you have a little tiny piece of thread that you just can't get back through. So what I do is I thread the needle and then string it, then I'm able to get that thread through. But see how I'm just passing this through my SuperDuos, weaving it back in, making some right and left turns. I don't even have to go around the side of the leather. I could just go right back into that SuperDuo there.
And then you might end with a little drop of glue and go through the middle and just, that's it.
And that's
Stop
it.
right
Yes.
there and then cut, right?
So like right here, I could add my little bit of glue, which I won't do. Add it
go
through.
through one more bead.
Go through one more bead, maybe here. And as my thread, sometimes what I do, because I'm afraid of getting glue all over, I get it almost into position just like this. I dot my little glue there, and then I pull it right in, and then I come in, I pull on my thread, and clip.
Good job.
Good job. Nicely done. There we go. Get that leather a little bit. I'm using my Xuron, my thread
it's just
scissors.
going to curl up. You
Yeah.
won't see it.
There we go.
Yeah.
And now I'll just continue. It's like weaving the ends. If any of you guys are knitters, it's like weaving the ends in on a sweater. You know, I like to weave it in at the beginning because then at the end I don't have that little extra. And then when it's turned around, you can see how nice it looks in the front. Okay. So Janice, are you ready to show them how to tackle that herringbone? I'm going to keep working on this.
Could I have all of the samples? Because I would like to just...
I'm going to take this one off because I know
I'd
you want
like
show
to
it.
just show... I'd like to show the three... Yeah, that's all I need is just these three.
Oh.
So, do you have a
Question?
question?
Sure.
Is tough cord too thick for SuperDuos? Is that what you use now?
Yes, it's too thick. For the infinity stitch, if you were just going to do the straight laddering, you could use the tough cord #1. But when you're doing the infinity stitch and you want to go back through and around, it's too heavy to go through double because you have to thread your needle and then to go back again. So I would recommend sticking with like Hana or KO, one of those, and then you
And make sure and use it double.
Use it double. So to further answer that question, you can do the infinity stitch with tough cord number 1, but I wouldn't do it with SuperDuos. If you were doing like just tiles or you were doing
Like just the 4 millimeters.
4 millimeters, you could use it and it would be fine. So what I wanted to show here is everyone has their own signature way of doing things. This is Lauren's sample, and she started out, her signature look is where she does an overhand loop with the leather, and that's how she starts. And she also started her thread the way Kate did hers, where she knotted on the side and then does the first individual bead. Then we go over here to Robin's, and Robin started hers with a bit of macrame, had a long end and a short end, macrameed a few stitches, and then came with the long end and started her beading. And I believe she took the short end and wove it back in a little bit. Then we come to the sample that I made, which I wanted to start with a knot because that's how Lauren ends hers with knots, and I thought, well, I'm going to start with a knot. And the way I started mine is I started actually with, and I'm going to show you how I do it. I started with the thread coming into the knot and coming out on this side, and then I started with these small beads. So we all did it differently. I started with a little triangle of 8/0. Robin started with just a SuperDuo. So Kate, you could have started yours instead of with a little 8/0. You could have, because of the shape of the SuperDuo. You could start with a SuperDuo and you could end with a SuperDuo. Although, let me just, when I say end with a SuperDuo, let me just show you on Robin's. She ends hers here with 2. And it makes a very pretty end.
Nice little taper. As long as whatever you're using visually
it works
with the piece.
Right. And then if we go down to Lauren's here, Lauren ends all the way down here with a single SuperDuo. And I ended mine, I'm going to bring this up so you can see it. I ended mine with the SuperDuo and then the pattern going into the triangle. So what I want to show you now is how we did this one, with the knot.
Another question.
Sure.
What about S-line or Fireline?
You could use S-line, yes.
Okay.
S-line, but it's also known as D, S-line D or NYMO, and Fireline you could use. You can use anything you like to work with. As long as it fits through the beads, it doesn't kink up, and it doesn't fray too much.
Right.
The reason I don't like NYMO or S-Lon D is that I find that it begins to fray, which the Hana and the KO don't do. So it has more kind of thread showing. However, your beeswax will also condition. So I want to show you now. Do you have it in place, Gracie, so people can see?
I'm showing a full board and I'll zoom in
Okay.
when you're ready.
Okay, so I have here.
More excellent camera work
Yes,
by our
okay.
graphic designer,
So
Gracie.
I have, I don't know if, can you see this? I've put a knot in the end, and it was just an overhand knot where I took the thread through the same knot twice. And in the real world, I would then take a little glue, put that on the knot there, and then I took my needle and I just took my needle right through the overhand knot of the leather that I made. I put the glue on, and then I just pull this in.
That's a sweet little trick right
Yeah,
there.
just so that, so I will let that dry before I cut it, but you can actually cut that. You don't have to weave it back through. It's
secure.
Because I did a double overhand knot, that's really secure.
And the little bit of glue Kind of helps to secure
Yeah.
it inside that knot,
Yeah.
right?
I'm using a lighter color leather so that everyone could see the stitch better. And I'm going to just cut this off so it doesn't get in my way. The other thing that I do, a little trick I do, is if this is too long and I don't want to cut it, I will tape this up to the side of the
that's
board
smart.
so it's out of my way. I don't want, I don't like things in my way. That bothers me a lot, things in my way. Okay, so I'm going to do this stitch with, actually I'm not going to do it with the copper beads. I'm going to, well, okay, I'll do it with the copper beads, and I'm going to do it with
Oh, that'll be nice.
these, no, let me do it with these. Sorry, Katie.
It's
I'm
all
going
right,
to do it
I'm
with these.
doing-
I
got
just,
it.
Okay. So I'm going to start out by bringing my needle and thread, and I haven't waxed these yet. I'm sorry, everybody. So let
Here's
me
the
just,
wax.
I don't wax it as much as you do it. I should.
I'm a heavy waxer.
You're a heavy waxer. I should. So the thread can get these little tiny kinks in them without, and they look like knots, but they're not really knots.
They're just
so
little bends.
they're little, yeah, they're kind of like they go back on themselves. So you just want it, so that's why the waxing really helps with helping to smooth that out. So I came under I'm an under the leather person. You're an over.
I
I'm
am.
an under. So I'm going to put on,
But as long as you're consistent.
yeah, you just want to be consistent. I'm going to put on the 8/0. Let me just move these out of the way so everyone can see.
In your way.
You're not in my way. You're fine. So I'm going to, and you want to get all your tools, all your hoo-haws, everything out of the way so your thread doesn't start wrapping around your tools and your beeswax. So have a nice clean surface. So I have my bead right there in the middle. I'm going to shove it in between the two tails of leather. I'm going to press my hand on top of it. I'm an under the leather person. I'm going to come under it. And do you see my hands not moving? I'm not like trying to get the thread, all the way out. I'm just pulling it very close, and that's all you have to do.
Control your thread.
Yeah, so then now I'm going to come back through. I'm pulling on my thread. This is how I do it. I'm pulling on my thread, and as I'm pulling on my thread, I'm pressing on my bead. And I could go under the leather now. If for those of you who forget it all, now would be the time to go under your leather. But I'm pretty good at remembering. So I'm holding, the whole time I'm holding down, especially the beginning one, because your thread can get terribly tangled. I think it helps to hold that down, pull it in, and especially these first ones I check so that it's not twisted. Holding it down. Okay, my first bead is in there. I'm going to come under again.
Mike asks if hoo-haws is a technical term.
It is, Mike. That is a technical term.
It's totally technical.
That's right.
So I'm going to come back through. Let me first tighten that stitch. Going to come back through, press down on it. So if I don't know if you can catch this, Gracie, how I have like the tension on both sides. I'm in control. I can bring this hand up. And this is from all those years, I think, of knotting,
I was just
that
gonna
I
say.
know that I'm in charge. I'm going to press down on that bead again. I'm going to come in with my non-dominant hand, pull it in, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to go under, and I'm going to come through once more, the same bead. Mike, where are you? Where are you? Where do you hail from? I like that Mike is watching. We need more mics.
Yeah, Mike was saying, if it's the same Mike, one of his comments he uses, he watched our pearl knotting video as well, I remember. because we don't get a lot of comments from mics.
Yeah.
And he was using the Naughty Do-It-All for his knotting.
Oh.
So I noted that.
Okay, so
So,
now I'm
Texas.
going...
Texas.
Texas. So I'm now putting on 2 SuperDuos. I have the 2. I've gone under. Wait. Yeah, I came under. I came over now. Now I'm going to go under because I'm an under person. We could have votes on under and over.
Janice
couldn't we?
Janice and her voting.
I like competition.
know.
I don't. It's terrible.
are.
It's terrible.
Voted
Okay.
the best in her class.
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
Okay, so can you show everyone, Gracie, how I have this spool in here, and this is opening up the legs a little bit. There you go. The ladder. I'm opening the leather so I can, I can get my 2 SuperDuos in there. And now I'm going to come back through the same holes. You don't want to go through. And it doesn't have to be perfect right now because I'm going to tighten it up as I go. Fingers on top. I'm still holding the thread with this hand. It wants to wrap itself around the board. It wants to wrap itself around your coffee mug and your pliers and your tweezers. But you just have to take
You're
a
in
deep
charge.
breath. Take a deep breath. These first your tweezers help to kind of help you define which are the in and out threads.
And also, you guys, notice how Janice is holding her threads? She's treating now her doubled thread as if it were a single thread, right?
Yes.
And she's really being mindful of not splitting her thread with her needle
Yes.
as she's stitching. That can just be death to a project like this. Because if you split your thread with your needle, it kind of locks your thread in place, and sometimes if it's at a funny angle, it's very difficult to tighten your thread.
Okay, so I'm going now. It looks a little weird right here. Wait. Let me hold on a second. This is the money shot, right? Okay, I want to stop. I didn't go under or around my leather. Is everyone with me?
I'm with you.
Okay.
And you've stopped right here.
I've
You're
stopped.
not around the leather.
I didn't go around the leather. This is the only time you don't go around the leather. You string on another seed bead. Why are we doing this, Kate? Because we are
Because we love beads.
because we've taken
done
this project apart
50
and everyone
million
out here
times.
who's okay, so we've put on the seed bead without going around the leather. This, what does it do? It plants it.
Yeah, well, we're placing this seed bead because we're going to come back through and anchor it
That's
on
right.
our next pass.
Right. Okay.
So just have faith, you guys, that this is going to work. 'Cause
Yeah.
this is going to feel
A little
like,
weird,
a little
like
weird.
oh, okay. So then you.
But see how Janice automatically kind of pushed that in place. But see the beads out here kind of hanging around. Don't worry, it's all going to come together in this next pass.
I hope so. Did I put it on the right one?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we put it
Okay.
through.
Now we're putting.
You went through the first leg of the.
Oh, your mom has asked Kate, can anything other than leather cord be used for the outer legs?
Yes.
Yes.
Answer your mom.
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Ma. How are you? I loved my table runner that you made me for the holidays.
It's beautiful.
Everyone loved it, and Chris loved the frame that you sent. Now I don't have to call you. No, just kidding. Yeah, you could use chain probably, right, Janice?
Yes, you can use some chain. You can definitely use cotton.
Yeah, cotton cord.
There's
There's a lot of things that you could use, but chain is, I know you use the chain in your color study, which is kind of cool.
Okay, so let me just get back to this. I'm coming back through the same beads. And this time I'm going around the leather. I'm pressing and holding it in place. And that first seed bead is anchoring it. So I'm going to now go through that seed bead. See, it wants to pop up, right? So we want to to pull it down. My way of pulling it down is to bring the thread under the leather so that it pops down, not up. So I'm bringing it under the leather. And then now I'm going to go through it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I do this right?
Wait a minute. Where are your SuperDuos?
I forgot to put them on. Shoot, everybody.
Well, see, that's
oh my
okay.
goodness. Okay.
So that
Do you
if you'll note, you guys, we're just adding to our pile of things right here.
my goodness.
So Janice,
I
why
put it-
don't you know
okay,
what I
I
have
put
for
it-
you is this?
Oh my goodness!
And I'm going to take this away.
I put it on. It's so wrong, everybody. I put it on incorrectly. Now, what do we do, Katie?
You vamp, and I take this
Okay.
out
Okay, you take that out.
because you're in charge.
Okay,
always.
so I've
No, I want to show. Gracie, actually come over here because I want to show you. Let's show everybody. It's like a teaching hospital. Let's show everybody where Janice went wrong because this is pretty important. So see here where we came through. Let me get this a little bit here.
While you're taking that out, do you want me to show the stitch
No,
finish?
I actually want to show them how I would back this thread out.
Okay.
Because that's a pretty important rule, a pretty important tip, because we know you guys are going to do this. So see how I've taken my threads, my tweezers. You know, Janice, this happens all the time when I film, and so we take this as a learning moment. What would Julia
And then
Child
we
do
edit
in
it
this
out,
moment?
but then
no,
we edit it
we're
out.
just one take. If you have to do it on one take, like sometimes when I'm on Beads, Baubles, and Jewels, they say, sorry, Kate, you've got one take. We've got to fix it. So
Yes.
just like Julia Childs would do in her kitchen, she would say,
Yes.
who's to know? So see you guys how I've pulled this back. Now, what we want to do is very carefully, and since Janice didn't split her threads, at least I hope she didn't,
No.
see how I can pull that needle out and back? And that's just out right there. And I take this bead out. And we take this. So see there, that thread, that's a clue
Yeah.
that your SuperDuos, we're not doing our SuperDuos in a line, beads need to go there. So I'm going to
Yes.
use my knotting tweezer, I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to back this needle back up. Again, we're still in control of our thread, and because Janice had such good thread management, it's easy to pull it back out. Now, if we tighten everything up, let's go back to, she added that bead. Remember, we're not around our leather, and this little bead is just hanging out. Now, Janice, what do you
Yes.
do?
Now you go through that first SuperDuo and then add your two
Add your
new
two
ones.
beads. So I'm gonna,
Add your
and
two
you're
new.
back, and we're back.
And we're back. Okay.
But I think it's a real valuable lesson.
I hope people have like. Does everybody have all day to?
Yeah, I mean, what do our viewers have to
Oh,
do?
I know. No one has meetings,
So
right?
this is really important, though, you guys. Good thread management and knowing how to take that stitch out
And some humor
is important. Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming around.
And we're
gonna,
back.
And we're back. We're adding the two SuperDuos. Here they are, right? And then I'm going to go back up through the bottom hole of, I want to, part of my issue is it's too
Hard
far
to do
away
it. I
from
know,
me
it's
with my
hard
glasses.
to do it on camera because your hands are farther away.
Okay, so I don't have to worry too much about it being tight right yet, but I am giving all my thread tension. So I'm keeping it tense, and then I'm gonna, where's my, I had thread in here to keep this open.
Someone's asking you to do it a little bit slower because it is a bit hard.
Okay, so let me get it up where I want to show it to you, and then I'll stop, okay? So let me show you this so far. So
It's gonna waggle around a little bit.
so it's like it's all wobbly. So let me stop here and just show you. So this bead, we didn't go around the other. We came through the bottom hole of the first super duo. We added the 2 super duos. Then we came through the bottom hole, the second hole of the super duo of the first row.
In the row 1. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then
Now
I'm
you're
going to
gonna
put
add.
on another little seed bead.
And this is all going to come when Janice makes this second path of thread, you guys, her second pass, as she comes around the leather and follows the thread path that she made as before, that's when everything anchors in place.
Yeah.
This is the magic moment here.
Yeah. This is the money shot, not the other money
Well,
shot.
this
which
is money
was,
shot number 2.
Okay, so I'm going to go as slow as I can. I have to keep this open. Let me take my needle. Let me go back. Sorry, Gracie. Let me go back through this. Let me come back through this. So I would really like, ideally, I would like to angle cut my needle through all of those beads. But it's a little hard
Right, with this first
this
pass.
first pass. But you see how I'm doing it, everybody? I'm actually going through those 3 beads. I'm going back through the seed bead. I'm going back through the bottom hole of that first row of seed beads, and I'm going back through the first hole of the second row. Now I'm going to just kind of hold it down. And I'm going to pull it in. And I don't think I can go much slower than this. Okay. I hope I'm going slow enough.
So see that bead on that side, our little A dot right over here? That's been anchored. So that's in
Right.
place. Now Janice is coming in to anchor the bead over on the left side.
Right, so I have to go back through the top hole, then the bottom hole, and then that first seed bead that we put on that wasn't anchored.
Way back when.
Way back when, right. An hour ago. Okay, now I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to hold that down, and then I'm an under person, so I have to bring it under. I tried adding a bead to yours, Katie, and I went under, and then the bead wanted to pop out because you're an over.
I'm an overer.
So whatever you start, you have to stick with.
Just be consistent.
So now, what do we have? It's going to get easier, but now we have the
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 established.
stitches. Now what's going to happen is when you add the 2 new beads here, this is going to keep everything in place. So I'm going under, I'm adding the seed bead, I'm going to go back through the bottom hole now. You know, one of the things Lauren wrote in on her instructions was everyone should check the holes of the SuperDuos because sometimes the plating on them closes them
Clogs
up.
them.
So you're doing it, and then you go back through the second hole.
And it's clogged.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
a good,
now
that's a good
everybody,
tip.
I'm adding those 2 new SuperDuos.
Yeah, and see, you guys, the visual clue here is that the little opening between the SuperDuos needs something to fill it.
Yeah.
So it's those 2 SuperDuos that are going to come in.
And I'm coming through.
That little bottom hole.
And I just want to make sure my thread is tight, so I'm coming back, I'm pulling on it, pressing down, pulling in. And everyone, you should charge $1,000 if you sell these. Everyone should charge $1,000. By the way, we want to mention Lauren's Facebook page.
Yeah, so
She does make jewelry
you
and
guys,
sells it.
she does beautiful loomed work as well as this, and you can go to her Facebook page. It's Lauren Hartman, Hartman, and you can just search Facebook for Lauren Hartman.
And it's Lauren Hartman Beads.
Beads, Lauren Hartman Beads.
Yeah.
And it's really, her loomed pieces are just beautiful.
Yeah. So here we go. We're getting
We've established, right?
We've established. Yes.
So we've gone from this chaos
Right.
to creating some semblance of order. The parade
Right.
is lining up.
Ita says, thanks for showing us how to keep calm when making an error. I will think of you next time I'm about to explode.
Yeah.
And then Roseanne says, this must be an advanced
Yeah.
skill.
It is. We do call this one an intermediate.
Yes.
But who was that? What was
Roseanne.
Roseanne? You know, Roseanne, I've been doing this little single kind of herringbone over here with just my SuperDuos. And so if you
it's
find
easier without that
if you find it daunting to add this little extra bead, that's okay. Just go ahead and SuperDuo it up without that little extra 8/0.
See, I almost went through the wrong hole. Oh, I did. No, I didn't go. Did I go through the? I did. I did. Everybody. I came. Yeah, because I'm going back through a whole. Yes, I am. Yes, right. Yes, it's hard.
It's hard to demo.
Oh, sorry. It's hard to.
There we go.
Okay,
You go through the
now
top
I go
one.
through the top one. Yes.
Because remember, those bottom holes you
Yeah.
guys need to stay open.
So if you're going back and you're going through a bead that has a hole
Thread
that has
thread,
no
no
thread,
thread.
you're going through the wrong one.
You know you're making
It looked
an error.
so beautiful,
I know, so easy.
and it was the wrong thing. Okay, so now I feel like, okay, I've got my project ready. It's really now anchored. I could
And
go.
everyone out there can breathe. Everyone
Yeah.
in collective Facebook land,
Yes.
let's all take a breath.
Yes. So I have a little loose thread in there. I'm pulling it in, and then I'm going to just bring that up a little bit. And if you can you see it's now starting? Does everyone see it's starting? Okay, so now I'm going to go under.
Penny says this makes her miss making jewelry, and that it's hard to find time with a 2-month-old, and she loves this SuperDuo wrap bracelet.
Oh my gosh. A 2-month-old. Yes.
And Nancy's now asking, is she allowed to make and sell these projects that we design as long as she credits beadshopdotcom?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yes, we want you to prosper. That's the goal. It's always nice when you give credit and you say, inspired by whoever the designer is. We also encourage you to make it your own by changing out the colors, by doing like a signature look. Like I wouldn't encourage you to go to Lauren's Facebook page and then copy what she does, but would you be inspired by what Lauren does and go, hey, I'm going to make jewelry that's inspired by Lauren Hartman? Yes. And in part with her doing a project for us, she, as well as other designers who do jewelry for us, understand that they're sharing their ideas. That's what we're about. So, okay, so I'm going to put that on there, and I'm looking back and I can't really remember if I left one of the seed beads off.
Actually,
but
that's what Gita just asked.
yeah, I think I might
In the
have.
first row.
I think I might have, but could someone do it correctly and post it on Facebook? I'm going to show you. Do we have a sample where it was done correctly?
Which side did you leave it off?
I think you shouldn't let me do this anymore.
Oh,
I think I should.
that's silly. Let me see.
No,
Where did
I
you leave
think
it
I
off?
left it off up here. I think
to
it's
look at
off
it.
up at the top there. I left it off. Yes.
Well, it's a good lesson in
Not letting you do it.
Not letting you do it,
Yeah.
not leaving off your bead.
Yeah.
But you know what? In the long
Do you
run,
have one?
Yeah, I
Do we
have it
have
here.
that one where it's done?
Mhm.
Well, actually, yours is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Is it?
because you can't.
Right, you can't add it.
put you. Well, is that the same as this?
She left the first two seed beads
So
out.
1, 2, 3. Maybe I did. Yes, I think I let it off. So if you look here, it's correct. That's what you want. You know, I would need one of those disclaimers like on the side of warning.
Warning,
on the
do as
side.
I say,
Yeah,
not as I
yeah.
do.
So
Beads are closer than they
yeah.
appear in
So
the rearview mirror.
if you go to our handout, if you go to our handout, it is correct.
But you guys also, if you take a look at the two pieces side by side, Janice left this off. Big deal. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You learn how to see your mistakes, and you could pull it back out, start making your pile of beads and beginner things that look like our big pile, and soldier on. It's
I know
not
this
the
is
end of the
yeah,
world.
and you see I've even got my thread tangled here. I'm going to loosen that up and go back and fix it. It's just it looped around the SuperDuo when it was tightening. It's just anyone out here who's done this will appreciate how much it's a challenge. The stitch is definitely not a beginner challenge, a beginner level project. It's not even an advanced level. It's for crazy people. It's just for crazy people. So anyone out there who's crazy enough to do this, good luck to you.
No, it's going to be awesome. Pardon my reach here.
That's okay.
I'm going to get that. Grace, can you?
This is going to go viral.
I hope so.
It's like,
Someday.
hey, watch Janice screw up.
No.
So
that's
Drea
beautiful.
I've just
reminds us that the first two SuperDuos don't get a seed bead, the third and fourth do.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, I'm just going to soldier on and forget about
Do it.
that thread being wrapped
Yeah,
around
who
that
cares?
SuperDuo. Well, how many people watching on Facebook Live
Millions.
care?
Millions.
No, they care. Don't you guys? I know you guys care, but I'm
They do
sorry.
care.
I'm just going to...
They're just going to move. And we're going to soldier
yeah.
on.
And
So-
Jenny said she made it without the seed beads.
Yes, you can make it without the... Yes, and there's so many different things you can do with the SuperDuos. But this is starting to...
It's starting to.
It's
shape
not
up.
perfect, but it's starting to come together. And can I see the other
Yeah,
one?
this one.
This one, I think, is...
You can see, and I was just about ready to add.
This
some more
is the
thread
one
to that.
that's just with the SuperDuos, and then you're adding more to that.
To this
so, do you want to talk? Should we talk a little bit because it is over?
It's getting we're
Should we
just about
talk
there.
about adding a thread?
Yeah,
Would that be
yeah.
the next thing
I
to
would like
do?
you to.
Okay.
You
So
can add a thread right in there, can't you?
So, yeah, I can. So, let's say you're running out of thread, and you want to decide you're running out of thread before you run out. It's a mistake to pray and think your thread is going to be longer than it actually is. So, when you're near the end of your thread, and there are multiple ways you can add a thread in, it's primarily common sense. One of the reasons why we don't use tough cord in this project is because the holes are small, and when we do want to add thread in, if we use tough cord, the holes are just gobbled up with the tough cord, and then it's very hard to weave back in. So what Kate has done here on this particular one is she realized that she was low on thread, so she took her needle and she finished down here, and then she came back up through the different beads. Now, when you're weaving back up through different beads, you don't have to wrap around your leather. In fact, when you do wrap around your leather,
It makes an extra lump, kind of.
and you're also giving away that you've added thread. So if you like, I'm going to add a thread now, and I don't have to put a knot in the end. I'm just going to come back up here. I'm going to start here. And I usually, when I'm adding a thread, I like to put just a drop of glue on the thread that's going to live inside here. So I would put a little bit of glue right there. And I'm going to take the liberties of cutting your threads, Kate, so we don't see these. I don't know if it's really super secure.
Really okay.
You put glue on it though, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we can say that I did.
Okay. So this is my thread now. If you want, you could put an overhand knot in this. You could also, because we're weaving back through, it's going to end up being very secure. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come through There's several ways you could do it. You could just go through the next bead down here, or you can come back if you're a purist, you can come back like this.
The exact same.
The exact pattern, but instead of going around your leather, I'm not going to go around the leather. I'm just going to go back through the bead. I'm going to try and go back. Can I just bring this a little closer to me? I think that's kind of what's making it difficult for me, is I'm trying to work so far away with my glasses. So I'm coming back. You put some glue on this already? You did, didn't? No. Okay, so this is going to be really secure, and I'm going to pull that in now. We do have some glue on it. There is a little bit right here.
No, that's the
wax.
Oh,
that's the wax. Okay, so you can just pull that off. That's just a little bit of the wax.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come through the bead again over here.
And you can see, you guys, with this thinner KO the Hana actually that we're using, like Janice said before, if we were using heavier thread, there is no way we could weave.
There's no way we could weave back through. So and if you have a little bit of difficulty bringing the needle back through, you can use a needle nose or chain nose pliers to pull your needle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going back through these rows of beads.
And you want to exit your needle eventually.
Where you want to start your next row. Right.
So something I wanted to show about this, Janice, you tell me when you're done there, because I want to point something out.
Okay, I'm almost done. I've just got to get this last row done, and I think this is going to show, because when I exit this last row, I want to come around the leather and just continue, and I just want to show them this. So we're coming around, and this is your work, so I'm going to go over. You go over.
I do. I'm an overer.
You're an overer. So I'm going over. I don't want to change now because then it'll look different. And then I'm coming back. I'm going to come back through. And then I'm ready to add my next row.
Yeah.
And ready to wrap around the leather and then add another Super Duo after I go back through this first one. I am just...
There we go. Beautiful.
Okay, and then I'm going to go over, under, go through the first hole, yep.
And again,
and then add the Super Duo. Add the Super Duo between the V. You add the two new Super Duos between this V, and away you go. And that's it. You've got a new thread. Now we did use a brown. It's a different color.
I wanted to use a different. I actually.
Oh, you did. You planned that
so that you could see where the old thread began and the new the old thread ended.
So, sorry, Gracie. And then now I'm going to go around.
And we're
around, and we're in business. There you go. You've got a new thread.
Beautiful.
Okay. Now,
something
what did you
I wanted to share, Grace, if you would come on over here, just to clarify. Now we've had a little bit of a palate cleanser with that guy. I did want to clarify, so you can see the pattern has started to establish. One of the things that I think people, and this is where the light bulb moment was for me, think about when you're doing this stitch, that this side is a 45-degree angle, these 3 beads, 1, 2, 3, and these 3 beads are at a 45-degree angle. The bead holes are lined up here, and they're lined up here. So now I've just had my last needle pass through here. I'm going under, going for it. And see how it looks like there's a little empty space. That's where that bead goes, your 8/0 or your 11/0 or whatever it is. But see how when I slide that on, see how that bead fits,
Fills that hole.
fills that hole. Now, this bead hole and this bead hole, they're lined up. So I'm just going to put my thread, my needle rather, through there. And I can see, yeah, that lines up. Now, I need to grab 2 more.
Because you have to open them up
Mm-hmm.
to fit.
To fit.
That's where they go. They
So,
fit
see?
in between.
There we go. That's lined up. Now I put on my second one, and this is where I change direction to bring my bead, my needle out. There we go. Now, what do, you guys? What do? What's it time for? See where there's a hole right there? What goes there? An 8/0. That's right. That's right. Okay. Now Janice is an underer. So we'll go under and see how that pattern, it's stitched, it's there. So now all you need to do, you guys, is you follow that thread path back through the 8/0, through the bottom hole of the SuperDuo, through the top hole of the SuperDuo, top hole, bottom hole, and 8/0 to anchor it in. Because see how that 8/0, remember how Janice said earlier, we have to have that thread to lock it in, so it's not locked in yet. So let's go ahead and lock it all in.
And you have a herringbone pattern.
And so see, I can do that 45 degree. My needle is coming all the way through. That's where I put my thumb on and I tighten. Now I'm ready to do that second pass, that second 45 degree. Here, here, and here. See that? Bam, through. And tighten.
If you can't line up all 3,
that's okay.
then just do them one at a time.
But now, see, there's that hole again, you guys. There's that hole, and that's where this bead goes. And, you know, you might have a couple of rough starts. I mean, you saw us have rough starts. It's okay. And we've been doing this collectively for, I don't know, 70 years or something like that, right? So it's really okay once you, you know, if you have to stop and start a couple of times, it's like a learning process. You know, pitchers don't go to the pitching mound all ready to, you know, pitch that winning game. You've got to warm up first in the bullpen, so that's okay. There's no problem. There's that bead. Whoops. There's that bead. Now I've set everything up, and I'm ready to go back 45 and 45.
Nancy says, love you guys. Thanks for keeping it real. I feel better about all the mistakes I made.
Good.
And
Great.
Tamar says, can I come over?
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
She says, it's encouraging to see veteran beater girls working.
Well,
It gives us peace and courage to stay with it and finish ours. You
Yeah,
rock. I
I
love
know.
these real time lives, and you both have such awesome artisan hands. The years of experience are so obvious in your hands. These are such a gift to all of us. Huge blessings to you all.
Thank you.
I'm going to cry a little bit and have
I
some
know.
coffee. That's
I know.
awesome.
I wish the mistakes
Cheers.
had been intentional, like we planned them.
Well, you know, we did. We did. You did a great job on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So the things we want to say to wrap up for this project, you guys, is essentially look at your handout and let's take a look at just this piece here, just so that you are pretty clear. The transition that we made, as we talked about before, what are our little tweezers, my little pointers? Here they are. I got them right there. Let me put on my glasses. So this little transition, however you want to end it, like Janice talked about earlier, we ended it, you know, we can end it with 2 SuperDuos, with 1 SuperDuo, with a little bit of transition beads, however you want. But this part, this big hold bead, is a great way if you need to add thread again. this is the right place to do it. Wrap, end your thread, weave it back up, then tie on a new piece of thread here, and I show that actually in the handout. You can show this, Grace, right here. See how I've wrapped the thread around? We're going to slide that bead up right there, and then we're going to continue with our next section right here. And then you just continue to ladder. Ladder, 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 back and forth. After this herringbone, these 4/0 beads are going to seem like they're a breeze, right? That you're on a desert island vacation. And then make the same transition here. Someone's taping up one of your packages in the background. That's what you're hearing. Back and forth, single seed bead, tighten, tighten, put that bead up, and then make your transition here and ladder with your checkmates. These checkmate tiles here, you can see we've just alternated a few of these checkmates tiles and little ladder lengths of seed beads across. The thing I wanted to point out too about the checkmates tiles, they're a little bit different than that SuperDuo. That SuperDuo, they are 2-hole beads, but they're shaped so that they sit in that herringbone pattern, and you go in and out and then add 2 more SuperDuos in there and in and out. The thing about the checkmates tiles is that they have 2 holes in the sides. So you treat them when you ladder like one complete pass through the first hole. So I'd go through and back and finish, pop down to the second hole, through and back and finish. Then pop down around and add your new checkmate tile.
So Christina's the one who had asked earlier, but she's asking again, how do we know each section size? How large the section?
So that's a great question. So that clarifies us for us, Christine. If you want to make this longer and shorter, essentially each of these sections is about 7 inches in length, so it's about a bracelet size. So if you are going to make it to fit your wrist, I might measure your wrist and get one single wrist measurement, what a bracelet works for you. And then I would make this section, and this section, those same lengths. Maybe it could be a little shorter, a little bit longer.
Right.
And then at the end, you could, when you take it off the board before you tie off your ends, you can just wrap it around. That's what we do here a lot, or that's what I do a lot. I take it off the board, I wrap it, and I make sure it's the right length.
Right.
You could add a second loop on the end if you wanted it to be adjustable, or you could put it, before you tie this knot, put it back on your board and add a little more laddering if you needed to.
So when we measure, Christine, we measure that 7 inches or 6 3/4 or whatever you're going to go. We measure it from the middle of the button, not from the end, because this is where your end button loop is going to tie around. So if you go on most, jewelry websites, a woman's bracelet, the average measurement is 6.5 to 7, and a men's is usually 7 to 8. So if you're giving them as gifts, you could stick with the 6.5 or 6 3/4 for each wrap, and then that'll tell you I want to do 3 wraps or 4 wraps, and then you multiply that. Leave a little air.
I like a little bit of it. My rule of thumb is if I can get the tip of my finger in underneath my bracelet, then it's right. Like all of your bracelets here.
Well,
I can get my finger underneath them.
This one actually is
I love
a
this
necklace,
piece. Yes.
but this one is really large, and if I were to wear it by itself, it would fall off. So I just add a bracelet that's tighter below it, and it's not going to come off. That's my little trick to bracelets too big.
Yeah. So does that help? Does that answer? And so essentially we finish this up by knotting this off and tying the knot, just like Janice did at the beginning of hers way back. And that ending knot for the weaving is underneath this knot that's over the top. And then when I go ahead and measure for the button, I slide the button kind of in like this, and I pinch with my fingers. So then I tie the knot, an overhand knot there, so I know how big to make this loop. You don't want the loop to be so big that it's going to fall out, but you also don't want to wrestle with this button, shoving it through the loop, or else your leather's going to fatigue there.
Yeah, your leather will crack and break if it's too tight, but you don't want it too loose. So there's a happy medium. Sometimes I have to make that knot a couple of times.
Yeah, because
so I don't tighten it too much until I've tried the
until
button.
you test it. That's a great tip. Alrighty. Any more? I think we, warts and all, Janice. I think this was pretty. I think it was awesome. I think we did a great job. I don't know about you guys, but thank you so much for all of your encouragement.
Thanks for putting up with
with
my foibles.
Well, it's awesome. So before we leave, we did want to share a couple of things. We do have these projects up online at beadshopdotcom. It's called Herringbone Ladder. So if you just go right to our projects page, you can find the herringbone ladder for all, or the ingredients list, the project pages for all three of these: parade, seafront, and night lights.
Yeah.
You'll also find the handout connected there. Gita also put it in earlier in our comments. We thank you for that. Next week, though, you guys, we've got some great stuff planned. We had a contest.
We did.
It was amazing. We got some beautiful entries for the contest. And you guys are going to help us decide. This is our Born Yesterday challenge. The project is Born Yesterday. And it's a great project that utilizes macrame. And we use Ceylon with this piece
With
to
semi-precious
macrame.
beads.
Yeah, with semi-precious stones, some of our vintage finds. So we had a call out, some of you may be watching who added your pieces, to submit your designs for our Born Yesterday challenge. So we've gotten our submissions. And what we did, we thought what would be fun is to have you guys help us decide how we're going to choose our favorites. So if you go to the front page, you guys, of beadshop.com, and I've got my computer here, and I'm going to scroll on over.
It should be the first one you first.
Yeah, when you the first one you visit, and you can vote. You click right there, and you're going to vote on our Born Yesterday challenge. So here it is, and you're going to scroll down, and you're going to look.
Anonymous, so we don't know who submitted these.
That's right. That's great. That's right, Gracie. We don't know whose piece this is, and your voting as well is anonymous. So you just scroll through, and as you get to the bottom, you're going to vote for the one you want. And when you click finish, it's going to send you to a special thank you page where you get a reward.
What do you get?
Should I tell them?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Your reward is a 30% off coupon that you can use
wow.
once
Wow.
on our website.
We want to just say they'll write the coupon code down.
Yeah, do. Make note of that coupon code, you guys, because that coupon code page goes away.
You can't go back. Once you close that screen,
it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
Oh, you can only vote once.
Right, and you can only vote once. So you can find it through there. And we'll do another call out for voting on our newsletter as well. So if you haven't signed up for your newsletter or our newsletter, you guys, make sure and do that on our homepage. Well, again, an epic broadcast. Here's the vote on our Born Yesterday challenge to claim your store-wide coupon code.
Gita has put the code,
The link
in
for the
Thank you,
survey.
Gita.
Thank you, Gita. Now, Janice, we have a gift.
we do.
And it's Jen, one of our product managers, helped put this together. It's a winter, what we like to call our winter SuperDuo palette. So you get a nice little SuperDuo sampler,
Yeah.
and we thought we'd throw in.
Cute.
This is one of our favorite KOs to use. It's our gray color. So you have a nice wintry palette of 5 SuperDuos and some KOs. So all you need to do at home to practice this herringbone stitch is grab some of your scrap leather and start doing
And a button.
and start practicing your herringbone. Yeah, question.
Linda's asking, can you vote now or next week?
Oh, you can vote now, Linda.
Yeah.
It's right up on our website. What we're going to do is we're going to actually announce the winners on our Facebook Live next week. And we're going to be doing some of the techniques from our Born Yesterday Challenge. So we're going to be talking about macrame, how to use some of these vintage finds, and how to create these pieces. So, you guys, here it comes. We have a couple of things. We're going to tell you the code for our Super Duo giveaway in just a second. Just a reminder, it's our last... actually the beginning of our sale for the pieces that we've used in this Super Duo laddering. We've got 4mm beads, we've got tiles, we've got our skinny thread collection, and we've got Super Duos now all on sale. And you can go to our front page. There is a 25% discount that you can add, so you can stack the savings from here and there. Now, and you were going to say our parade kits are up.
Right. Everyone has wanted Lauren's project in a kit.
And here it is
So
on our kit page.
we've done her project. It's in a kit. I think we have 50 kits for sale. That's
But only her color.
Right.
only her
that
color right now. Yes, we. So you'd go to the top of the home page. There's a little link across the top that says kits, and you can.
I'm going to scroll right there, and you can see it's the Herringbone Ladder Parade Kit. And it's that number 1. You just click on that, and that's where you guys are going to find it.
Right. And there's the kit.
There it is. Okay.
So,
So,
I'm
so
very
there
excited
it is.
about, and I just do want to shout out to Lauren to thank her for this great stitch that has resonated with all of us so much.
Yeah.
Both our readers and the staff.
And
We've
us.
all,
Yeah, we had a fun time.
So,
You know, it's always crazy, but it's always fun when we get to try out
Right,
these new
right.
things. So, to claim that Super Duo prize, you
Yes.
guys, you need to place an order. Now, we don't want you, sometimes you get super excited and you put the little phrase right here in Facebook. But what you're going to have to do is go to our website, place an order, and in the comments box, you are going to put in first 10 customers to say, send me my Super Duos. We're going to put that Super Duos gift in there for you. You guys, your little sampler. As if you have any questions, comments, leave them on our Facebook page, even if you're working or watching this after the fact and not watching us live. Please do comment. We love to read them. Or you can always email me right at kate@beadshopdotcom. We're glad to take those questions and answer them for you. Any final thoughts, Gracie?
No, someone has asked what our page name is, and Drea has put beadshop.com. So just a reminder that we're
yeah,
Bead
just
Shop.
a reminder, beadshop.com.
Yes, beadshop.com. So.
Well, another one for
Hashtag
the
I had a great time.
hashtag I had a great time as well.
Hashtag even though I screwed up, I had a great
it was
time.
great.
Hashtag.
Another one for the record books.
It
was
is
great.
It is.
So we'll see you guys next week. Yes, question?
And thank you to everyone who shares.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys
Yes.
share this video
Yes.
far and wide.
Yes,
You know, it takes a
crazy.
village. We really, really
Crazy,
appreciate
yeah.
it. Well, next week we'll be coming at you live all about the macrame, our Born Yesterday challenge. We're going to announce those winners, and we're going to teach you all of the in and outs of macrame.
Also, I want to bring up malas.
And
Malas, which
yes.
use the same technique.
The same
so,
stitch.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful. All right, you guys.
Okay.
Kate and Janice, we're
Yeah.
out of here.
Yep.
It was a good one. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.